Are there any other months that are also names? I know there's April, May, June. Pretty sure I met in October once.
Watch it, Alan, I'm shooting.
May.
So many pretty parts, no pretty holes.
No shit.
May is a very tragic horror movie that came out in 2002. I know every horror movie tends to revel in tragedy, but this one is just so sad, in a good way. We follow a lonely, mentally disturbed woman named, what a shock, May. When she was a child, she had a lazy eye, and you could tell that her mother was a bit of a perfectionist.
Bitches. Do you want to make friends? Then keep it covered.
She was outcasted because of her imperfection, and she's very shy and awkward, so the only friend she has in the world is this doll that her mother gave to her. She also has a tendency to focus on people's perfect body parts.
I like every part of him. Especially his hands. They're beautiful.
As an adult, she becomes obsessed with this mechanic named Adam, and for the first time in her life tries to pursue a relationship. It doesn't go well. So she soon comes to the conclusion that people aren't 100% perfect. Only certain parts of them are. You probably guessed where this is going. She sets out to collect the perfect parts from people so she can create the perfect friend.
If you can't find a friend, make one.
This movie does have a decent body count, but it doesn't come until the third act. Bloodshed isn't really what this movie is about anyway. It's a psychological look at this disturbed individual who's just spiraling and spiraling down into madness. It's more about the build-up to May doing something terrible. We know that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and what exactly she's going to do. So you could call this movie a slow burn. And that usually means you're gonna have some people out there who insist that that means boring. But it's not. There may not be any jump scares or some guy in a mask running around with a knife. The creep factor is watching May go insane. Sometimes watching somebody go nuts is just as suspenseful as after they've already snapped. Look at Jack Torrance. As I said at the beginning, this is a very sad movie. May is just so lonely. Angela Bettis plays May, and she gives such a good performance. She's so awkward that you kind of find her cute at first, but then you see how disturbed she really is.
Jesus, what are you doing?
Relaxing.
The only friend she's ever had is this doll that she keeps in a glass box. So she doesn't really know how to interact with people. In her mind, this doll is the only person that's ever paid attention to her, and she's so desperate for a real friend. You want May and Adam to have a successful relationship, but because of how damaged she is, you know it can't happen. And when it does end, you are devastated for her.
Okay, you know what? We're not talking about May anymore. I've successfully escaped that limit.
Who's May?
Some weird chick Adam just dumped.
And then she starts to crack. She was cracking before this, and now the cracks are just becoming much bigger. There's an interesting subplot about a female co-worker who's attracted to May.
What's up, doll? This is Polly. I'm just sitting here in my nightie. I wanted to know how my little puss was.
Now, May isn't really a lesbian, nor is she bisexual, but she eventually succumbs to Polly's seduction because she's just so lonely, and she desperately wants somebody to see her as something other than a freak. Of course, Polly is only in it for sex, which ends up hurting May and adding to her loneliness. Her obsession with perfect body parts makes you so uncomfortable, but you can't deny that people have attractions to certain body parts over others. May's obsession is just very unhealthy.
You have really beautiful legs.
I thought they were gams.
Gams, stems, wheels, whatever.
When we do finally get to the kills, they're all great. She doesn't just kill people outright. Each scene is a slow build-up to the death. You know it's coming, but the movie's just dragging it out, making the tension unbearable. And I love it! But what's a sad movie without a sad ending? And this ending is a tearjerker. The last image is a bit iffy. It feels out of place for a movie like this, but when you think about it, it's the only way that the movie could end. May is such an underrated horror movie, and it deserves a bigger audience. It's one of my favorite horror movies post-2000. If you haven't seen May, go watch it. I can't recommend it enough. Now let me ask you, have you seen May? What do you think of it? And what are some of your favorite horror movies post-2000? This is your buddy Justin, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. I want somebody to name their kid January. Not me, I'm naming my first kid Uvula.